But one of the things when we spoke in 2010, it was the beginning of the Triptykon, and at that time, you were very focused on establishing where you were at then. You were focused on what you were doing in the present. Of course, well-established, credible artists like yourself, in my opinion. Thank you for you being humble and grounded. Um, there always is the shadow of what you did in the past and what people tend to gravitate, and they become somewhat stagnant. They don't let the artist evolve. At the time in 2010 when we spoke, you were very, very, very adamant that you did not want to reflect of your past. Here we are, 2018 going into 2019. Full circle. You'll be playing Decibels Festival tomorrow here in Los Angeles, and you'll be doing a special set of Celtic Frost songs. This is something that I've always admired and always respected when the artist is credible. When you are full circle and you have fully grown and you accept who and what you are, present, present, and future, which is most important, future. Do you enjoy the fact that you'll be performing these songs tomorrow? And then you've also announced that in April of 2019 at the Hellfest, you'll be doing a very special performance of Hellhammer songs. Two different, uniquely historical moments that are going to be happening in the near future. Tell me where you're at now, and why are you allowing us to share in this magical moment?
Well, I have to distinguish this a little bit. I was adamant to be nailed into my past because I had established a new band, Triptykon, and I didn't want Triptykon to be a tribute band or a cover band.
Right.
I was, of course, well connected to my past because I had just come out of the Celtic Frost reunion where we spent years dealing with our past and also playing. Among new songs, we also played plenty of old songs. So yeah, I was always grounded in my past. But Triptykon, I wanted Triptykon to be seen also as its own identity, as its own musical entity, not just in the shadow of Celtic Frost. On the other hand, though, of course, I formed Triptykon also to continue to play the music that we had developed in Celtic Frost. It was very much a double-sided thing. Which we've maintained to this point. Every concert we played with Triptykon, it's about 50% Celtic Frost, 50% Triptykon. That's the way we see is right. The full Celtic Frost show that we are playing at the Decibel Fest was actually not our idea. It was by request of Decibel.
Really?
Absolutely. We, of course, in Triptykon we've talked at one point or another about doing a full Celtic Frost album concert one of these days. But we always felt it was too early right now. We always felt it takes maybe 3 or 4 albums of Triptykon until we can do this, because we didn't want to be seen as being desperate, having to resort to Celtic Frost classics to have a career. We felt very confident that Triptykon can be an established artist on its own strength and just play Celtic Frost songs to continue the tradition. Because we love these songs, of course.
Of course.
But we didn't want to be desperate or a cover band or a tribute band. So we would have waited maybe 2 or 3 more years to do something like that. But then Decibel contacted us, and Decibel has been a very fantastic supporter of both Celtic Frost and Triptykon. And we felt we had to thank them, and we were open to discussing this. And they also suggested that we could do down the line something for Decibel where we just play Triptykon music, and then it was okay for us. Then the balance was maintained. So that's the story of the Celtic Frost set. As for the Triumph of Death Hellhammer tribute, that these two things happen at the same time is total coincidence, because the Triumph of Death project has been formed in the background for quite a long time, for years actually. I had the idea for a long time, and I talked to friends of mine if they wanted to participate for years. Actually, in like 2013, when we did the second Triptykon album, I started talking to my friends about this. But it wasn't a priority, so it took a while to get to the stage where we go play live. Now it happens at the same time, but that's a mere coincidence. The Hellhammer songs simply. Some of those songs are they reflect a certain point in my life that where I tried to break out of a very difficult youth and do like we said earlier, try to form my own world with my friends. And these songs have never been played live, and I just felt I would like to try to play these songs on stage before my demise, and that's what we're doing. It's very much a musically oriented thing. I didn't want to do it. I got so many offers over the years to reform Hellhammer, but Hellhammer is not a band that exists for money. So I did it as a tribute. Now I'm not calling it Hellhammer because it's not. It's simply a respectful tribute, and it's about the music, and that's the way it should be.
Absolutely. When you're performing these songs, you gotta let me rephrase this. As a fan, even though I am now a grown man, when you mention performing Hellhammer songs, it still brings a sort of internal youthful excitement, because for myself in the United States, I never got to witness that. As the orchestrator, the creator of these songs, are you excited to be performing these for a new live audience and adapting them to where you're at now, present day?
Of course, otherwise I wouldn't do it. As I said, I mean, I got immensely lucrative offers throughout the 90s and 2000s for a reformation of Hellhammer, and never did it because it has to feel right. And of course, I do it because I feel enthusiastic about it musically. There was also a long time when certain members of Hellhammer, myself included, felt uncomfortable with it because of how closely Hellhammer was connected to certain very difficult aspects of our lives, our youth. And for a while we were very happy to leave these periods behind ourselves. Later in my life I was able to look at Hellhammer more, to separate these things and look at Hellhammer more musically, without all the baggage attached to it, and that was a very healthy thing. And I feel much more comfortable with all of this. And of course, as I said earlier, these songs are very important for my life, for my own path in life. And during rehearsals of the Triumph of Death project, it was fantastic to hear this. There's a certain youthful innocence in these songs. They're very punky. It's some of these songs are more punk than metal. And they reflect the do-it-yourself attitude of the time, the desperation of the time, the extremity, the fanaticism. And these are all positive things to me now, because they were the roots of the music that we're still playing.
Of course.
And it feels fantastic to be so closely connected to this again. It kind of closes a circle to me.
It's a healing. Would you?
In a way, yeah. And then,
psychological healing.
You said
healing.
you weren't able to experience this music because you were in the United States. But the thing is, Hellhammer never played live. There's no Europeans who experienced this either, except for the friends who were at the rehearsal room at the time. So this, for everybody involved, including me, this is the first time this music is going to be on stage. Maybe people will hate it because it's extremely primitive. At a time when all the bands are trying to be sensational death metal guitar players and everything, we come on stage with this like two-riff music. But there you go. We'll try this. We do it with very honest intentions, and if people like it, we'll all have a ball. And if they don't like it, I guess we'll embarrass ourselves to the bones, but I'm willing to do this. I don't care.
But from the human element, and I don't want to get too personal into your life, but for me, it's a closure. It's a form of healing. Music has always been a form of healing for many people around the globe.
That's the whole purpose. Like I said, without wanting to ride on the topic forever, but we most of us at the time in Hellhammer and in early Celtic Frost had very, very difficult upbringing, and of course finding like-minded people and turning something negative into something positive, of course it was a healing process.
And the bond.
Yeah, it's like amateur psychology in a way, and I think it did us all good. It was great to find ourselves unified like this, and to come out of a rehearsal room with something creative at the end of the day, when we left our homes with very difficult feelings, and then we turned it into very energetic music. That was a very good process. It's probably the best you can do.